Hey everybody, welcome back or welcome to another one of my videos. My name is Lauren Porter and you're watching Quarters Reporter. So for today's video, for the third year in a row, we are going to be doing Atlanta Falcons season predictions. I'm going to be going down all 17 games and telling you guys whether I think we're going to win or lose that game. Just a disclaimer before we get into today's video, as much as I would love for the Falcons to go 17-0, that's just not realistic. So yes, there are going to be losses in this video, but that does not mean I want them to lose. Of course, I want them to win every game possible that they can win. But just being realistic, you know, you can't be too delusional. They are going to lose some games this season. So I'm just going to be talking about the games I think we'll win and the games that I think we have a bigger chance of losing. Now, if they want to go 17-0, by all means, be my guest. So before we get into this year's predictions, let's talk a little bit about last season and this off season, because boy, it has been a lot. So last year the Falcons went 7-10 for the third year in a row under Arthur Smith. So, you know, we had to pack FedEx Boy up and get him on up out of Atlanta because we could not continue to be mid. There is zero reason why the Falcons should not have been in the playoffs last year. And we missed the playoffs again. So we had to get rid of Arthur Smith. Finally, Arthur Smith is out of Atlanta, and not just Arthur Smith, but that entire quarterback room has transformed as well. Desmond Ridder got shipped off to Arizona and Taylor Heineke got shipped off to Los Angeles. So with losing our starting quarterback and our backup quarterback, of course, you know, we had to bring in some new fresh faces, and the Atlanta Falcons ended up signing Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. It is crazy to see how much the quarterback room has transformed in just one off season. Like, we went from Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke to Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix. Like, that is exactly what I like to see, because the quarterback room was one of the biggest problems last season. Not only do we have new faces in the quarterback room, but we also have new faces in the coaching room in general. With Arthur Smith being fired, the Atlanta Falcons had to bring in a new head coach. Ended up getting Raheem Morris from the Los Angeles Rams, and let me just say, so far this Raheem Morris era has been amazing. He has made so many great signings. He's brought so many great coaches on. So hopefully, you know, he can get out on those field and get those wins, because so far I am impressed. The Falcons also have a new offensive coordinator with Zach Robinson and a new defensive coordinator with Jimmy Lake. I'm expecting big things from both of those guys. With Raheem Morris being a defensive-minded coach, he knew that he had to bring on some pieces onto this defense, because that pass rushing was not good. So the Falcons ended up trading for Matthew Judon, and then literally 24 hours later they ended up signing Justin Simmons to the safety room. So the defense is looking better. Just a quick rundown of a lot of the things that happened in this offseason. If you guys want to hear more information, especially a lot of the players that we signed during the offseason, go check out the rest of my videos, because I've been keeping y'all updated this entire offseason. Let's get into this schedule. We allegedly have one of the easiest schedules in the NFL, and I mean, I guess when you compare it to other schedules, it is a pretty easy schedule. Now, while the schedule is pretty easy this year, it's not as easy as it was last year. If we had last year's schedule, I would be a very happy camper, but we are playing a little bit more tougher teams this year, especially in the beginning of this season. I'm not mad at the schedule starting off pretty tough. I would rather have the schedule start off tough than end tough, because there is a lot of hype around this team. A lot of people are expecting them to have a very good season, me included. So with playing those tough teams first, we'll be able to see how good they actually are. Now let's get into these predictions. Week 1, Atlanta Falcons versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Atlanta Falcons will be facing their arch nemesis Arthur Smith in week 1. Like, the NFL is real messy for that. So this is a revenge game for Arthur Smith. I'm filming this on Saturday, by the way. Like, literally the Falcon season starts tomorrow. So as of right now, it's looking like Justin Fields is going to start, and that's so funny because a lot of Falcons fans wanted Justin Fields to be our new quarterback. So getting to see Arthur Smith call plays for Justin Fields is just like, wow. I'm not gonna lie, I think this is definitely going to be a win for the Falcons. The Steelers O-line is just ridiculous, and then they just lost their best O-lineman. So I think this is going to be an easy win for the Falcons. It should be an easy win for the Falcons. I mean, I don't trust Arthur Smith any longer. I know he was a good offensive coordinator, but ever since he made so many questionable decisions for the Falcons offense, I don't trust him handling an offense any longer. So I don't trust him handling the Steelers offense. I think this should be a win. I think we should definitely be starting our season off 1-0. Now, week 2, the Atlanta Falcons will be facing the Philadelphia Eagles on Monday night. This is a big game for us, and I'm not gonna lie, Kirk Cousins does not have the best track record on prime time, which scares me. The game is in Philly, so the boys will be traveling to Philly, and Philly did just win last night versus the Packers. But I'm not gonna lie, Philly had a lot of things going wrong in that game, especially interceptions. And with the Falcons having one of the best safety rooms in the NFL, Justin Hurts and those interceptions, he should be scared. Week 2, as much as I would love to see the Falcons win this game, you know, you have to lose some games, and the Eagles are one of the best NFC teams. So just for that purpose alone, I'm gonna say the Falcons take a L week 2 versus the Eagles. Being realistic, it's Monday Night Football, it's the Eagles, it's at their home. This might be a tough game for the Falcons, but I hope we do win. Now, week 3, we have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Falcons. This is definitely another tough game. My hopes for this game is that Taylor Swift stays home and that the Falcons do not get embarrassed on prime time. Luckily, the Chiefs will be coming to Atlanta, so of course I will be at this game. I've never been to a Sunday Night Football game before, so I'm really excited for that. And I've never gotten to see Patrick Mahomes play in person, and I'm just a football girly in general, so I love to see greatness. So I'm excited to see Patrick Mahomes on the field. Hopefully Patrick Mahomes will be taking an L. Patrick Mahomes did have a lot of shaky moments last regular season, but I'm not gonna lie, the Chiefs are looking pretty good this year. You know, they got Xavier Worthy in the drafts, and he's been doing amazing so far. So I do think week 3 will be a tougher week for the Falcons. While we could win this game, just for video purposes, I say week 3 is going to be another L. So we're starting off the season 1-2, but I don't think that people should be scared or think that the Falcons are flopping. I mean, we're facing pretty tough teams, top teams in the NFL. So as long as we put up a fight in those games, I think we'll be fine. Now, week 4, the game everyone is waiting for all season. The Atlanta Falcons will be facing the New Orleans Saints at home. Easy win. This should be a easy win. The Falcons should be 2-2 after week 4. Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. Need I say more? The Saints just really are not that good this year, and I'm not just saying that as a Falcons fan, I'm saying that as a football watcher. They're just not that good. Their roster is not that good. Their head coach is not good. So I say this is actually the year that we sweep the Saints, but we'll get into that later. Week 5, the Falcons have another NFC South matchup. We'll be playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. Now, this game I say is another W. I definitely think the Falcons should win this one. Last year we lost to the Bucs at home, and it completely broke my heart. So I'm gonna need for them to turn it around this year. The Bucs are honestly the Falcons' biggest competition in the NFC South, but I do think the Falcons should win the NFC South over the Bucs. I mean, we do have a better offense, we have a better defense in my opinion, so it's all just about getting on the field and actually winning the game. This game is a Thursday night football game, and I've never been to a Thursday night game either. You know, the Falcons haven't had this many primetime games in who knows how long. So yeah, I'm really excited for this game as well. Hopefully, actually I know we'll beat the Bucs on Thursday night football in front of the whole world watching. Kirk Cousins, you are better than Baker Mayfield. Go out there and prove that. Now, week 6, we have yet another NFC South matchup. We will be traveling to the Panthers home, and we will be playing them. This should be another easy win for the Falcons. The Panthers did add some offensive linemen, the main thing that they were struggling with last year, but I still do not see them, you know, improving drastically. I see them being better, but I don't see them improving drastically. Like, maybe instead of 2 wins, they'll have like 6. And I don't see one of those wins being the Falcons this year. I know they disappointingly lost to them last year in the most ridiculous game I watched all season, but this year it is no way Kirk Cousins and Raheem Morris will allow us to lose to the Carolina Panthers. So at this point in week 6, the season is definitely turning around. The Falcons are now 4-2. Now in week 7, the Atlanta Falcons will be facing the Seattle Seahawks at home. Seattle is not a bad team, but I do not think Seattle is better than Atlanta. I think they should definitely win this one as well, making them 5-2. Now week 8, this time we're traveling to Tampa Bay. We'll be facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa. Nah, as much as I want the Falcons to sweep every NFC South team, that's just not realistic, and history tends to repeat itself. So if I think we're not going to sweep any team in the NFC South, it's going to be Tampa Bay, because like I said, they are the toughest competition in the NFC South. So in week 8, I do have the Falcons taking another L and splitting the series with Tampa Bay. Now week 9, the Falcons will be facing the Cowboys in Atlanta. This is a huge NFC game, you know, the Falcons versus the Cowboys. I feel like a lot of eyes are going to be on this game. This is one of the tougher teams the Falcons will be facing this season, and Dak Prescott always has an amazing regular season. They just signed CeeDee Lamb to a fat contract. I see the Cowboys having a great regular season. I mean, per usual, they always do great in the regular season and fumble in the playoffs. So just for that reason alone, I say the Falcons will be taking another L in week 9. Week 10, we'll be facing the Saints for the second game of the year, and we will be sweeping those boys this year. Hear me out now. We will be sweeping the Saints this year. This is our year to sweep them. We will be going to New Orleans in week 10 and taking the dub. Week 11, the Atlanta Falcons will be facing the Denver Broncos. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that afraid of Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, but every single year your team always has that one team that they lose to, and it's like, how did you lose to them? And I think this year is gonna be either Seattle or Denver. We can't win them all, and then the Falcons will be traveling to Denver as well, and it'll be getting pretty cold around this time. And you know how southern teams get when they travel up to those northern teams and they have to play in snow and wind and all those crazy weather conditions. So week 11, I do have the Falcons losing to the Denver Broncos, but let me just say, I do think they can win this game. But just because you have to throw in a how did they lose to them game, I think it'll be week 11 against the Broncos. After a disappointing loss to the Broncos, the Falcons will go into their bye week, week 12. So after getting some rest and getting prepared for week 13, the Atlanta Falcons will be facing the Los Angeles Chargers. So we will be seeing Taylor Heineke in week 13. You know, they did just trade Taylor Heineke to the Los Angeles Chargers, and he is going to be the backup for Justin Herbert. The Chargers have a lot of things that they need to work on, and I don't think Jim Harbaugh's transition to the NFL is going to automatically be like amazing. So for those reasons alone, and I think the Falcons have a way better team than the Chargers, I think the Falcons will definitely take a win in week 13 and come back from the bye week with a W. Now week 14, the Atlanta Falcons will be traveling up north again. They'll be playing the Minnesota Vikings, like Kirk Cousins' former team. Now this is Kirk Cousins' first time playing in Minnesota again after shockingly deciding to sign with the Atlanta Falcons this offseason. I'm not gonna lie, those Minnesota fans might be a little salty, so I feel like there might be some booing going on. There might be some "we hate you Kirk Cousins" going on. Now while they may have one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, I do not see the Minnesota Vikings having a very successful season. You know, they barely have a quarterback up in Minnesota, and a quarterback is the nucleus to your team. When you don't have a quarterback, the chances that you struggle are up here. I think week 14 will be an easy win for the Falcons. I think we will walk all over Minnesota, and that will make Minnesota fans even more salty that Kirk Cousins left. Now week 15 is yet another away game. They'll be playing Las Vegas in Vegas, and I really want to go to this game because I've never been to Vegas, and I would just love to see the Falcons play in Vegas. Kirk Cousins in his career is 3-0 against the Raiders, so the chances of them winning this game is pretty high. We are gearing up towards the end of the season at this point. You know, teams are fighting and competing for playoff spots, those last little playoff spots to squiggle their ways into. So I don't think that the Raiders are just gonna let the Falcons walk all over them. This could be a win. I'm actually kind of torn on how I think the Falcons are gonna do in this game, but just because Kirk Cousins is 3-0 against the Raiders, I say the Falcons win this one. Now, week 16, the Atlanta Falcons will be playing the New York Giants, and this is definitely an easy win. The Falcons should most definitely win this game. The Giants are not good, and it's as simple as that. The Falcons should be walking all over the Giants in this game. Like, we might even see Michael Penix play just because we're whooping them so hard. Week 17, we'll be facing the Commanders, and Dan Quinn, former Falcons head coach, is now the head coach for the Commanders, so that'll definitely be interesting to see him returning to Atlanta. Now, hear me out when I talk about the Commanders. Commanders might not be that bad, especially when you're trending towards the end of the season. Jaden Daniels is an amazing quarterback, and I feel like he might pull a CJ Stroud moment, where CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans, you know, started off the season kind of shaky. They were losing a little bit. I mean, Desmond Ridder literally beat CJ Stroud. But this is week 17. We're talking about the team will be more developed. Jaden Daniels will be used to the NFL by now, and I think he's going to have a good NFL career. So week 17 might just be a loss for the Falcons. But at this point, I feel like the Falcons should have already secured the NFC South. I feel like they should already have the NFC South on lock at this point. So a loss at this point really doesn't even matter. I low-key want to see Jaden Daniels versus Michael Penix. Like, I hope the Falcons have this NFC South on lock at this point, because I want to see some Michael Penix action. But week 17, I'm just going to throw in another loss right here to the Commanders. And because history tends to repeat itself, and the Falcons always end up losing a random game towards the end of the season. Now, week 18, our last regular game of the season and our last NFC South matchup, the Atlanta Falcons will be facing the Carolina Panthers for the second time. And I say sweep. I definitely say sweep the Panthers. We should sweep the Panthers. This is the last game of this season. It's no way y'all lose the last game of the season to one of the worst NFL teams, but they did it last year, so I would not be surprised, honestly, if they did it again. But I do have more hope for this season. You know, new head coach, new quarterback, new OC, new DC. Like, we should definitely win this game versus the Panthers. There's no excuse to lose this game, whether it's Michael Penix or Kirk Cousins. There is no reason why the Falcons should lose this game week 18. This year, I have the Atlanta Falcons winning 11 games. I have them winning 11 games. Now, of course, they can win more. They could lose more than I think. Who knows how this season is actually going to go? Everyone has super high expectations, and I just pray that they can meet those high expectations this year, because I cannot take another losing season. I cannot take another season of them missing the playoffs. Luckily for us, the Falcons are definitely in win now mode. You can tell this team is ready to win. They have the platform. Now they just need to go out there and actually win some games. We have the roster, we have the coaches, we have the culture, we have everything that we need to take us to the playoffs this year. There's no excuse. There is zero excuse for the Falcons to not make the playoffs this year. Now, y'all know I will be at every single home game this season, and I will be vlogging all of those games, of course, for y'all. So be sure to subscribe so y'all do not miss any of the Falcons action this season. Comment down below what you guys think the Atlanta Falcons record is going to be. I think the most games that they'll win is 12, and I think the least games that they'll win is 9. But the crazy part is you can win the NFC South with 9 games. So I would not be mad if they won 9, as long as we don't win 7. If we win any more than 7, I will be happy. If we're in the playoffs, I will be happy. Let's just get back to the playoffs, please. But thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed all of my Falcons predictions for this season. Be sure to subscribe for more sports content from your girl, and I will see y'all in my next video. Keep rising up. Bye.